Welcome to the Green Building Show, where we investigate green design and building trends throughout Australia.
As our regular viewers will know, we're taking a close look at the energy efficient home. This week I'll speak with Sophie Barrett. She's a building designer who's created a 9.5 Energy Star rating home for under $250,000. And in Australian style, we've got the third instalment of our tropical housing series. I'll speak with Tony Lawson, the designer of an award-winning and sustainable light home in Kansas North. Okay, well thanks for being with us, Sophie.
Thank you for inviting me.
Pleasure. So you've just finished a design of a 9.5 star sustainable home?
Yes, it's a project based in Cairns. It's a sustainable home, 9.5 star. It's got all the features, sustainable features for a $250,000 budget. So we're really excited about bringing this kind of home to the affordable market.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And I guess to help us answer this question we've had from Benjamin, how would you go about creating a sustainable home?
It depends on where you're located, but there's some basic principles of passive design, getting the right orientation for the site, getting the right overhangs. If you're in Queensland, for example, you want big overhangs. Further south in Victoria, you might want to get some heat into the home to emit through the night. So it's working with your local climate and conditions, and getting that passive design right first is the most important thing.
Okay, so Sophie, do you think there's a growing demand for energy efficient and sustainable homes in the Queensland market?
Definitely. I think a lot of the homes that you see in Cairns are actually designed for the Melbourne or Sydney markets. They're all standard project homes. So coming up with a home that's specific to the Queensland climate and having that lightweight construction and the good overhangs and things like that, it's really important to design for the actual environment that you're in and make sure that the home is well designed. That sort of is the biggest part, I think. Okay.
And how much does it differ in terms of getting the most out of the energy efficient aspects of your home, state to state and climate to climate?
There is quite a bit of variation. I mean, you've got to look at each site individually and the orientation. In Queensland particularly, and especially in Cairns, we're not really concerned at all with keeping the home warm. We're trying to keep it cool. So we're really looking at keeping that heat out. And that's things like overhangs, window tinting, cross ventilation and venting the roofs and things like that. But in further south you get, the more you're actually looking at keeping the heat in during certain times and keeping it cool at certain times. So there's different things that they have to look at with their orientation and so forth.
Okay, fantastic.
Yeah.
And I guess for someone who's in the design stage of creating a new home and they want it to be as energy efficient as possible,
yes,
what would be their first consideration in your opinion?
Well, firstly, we'd be looking at doing a site analysis. So looking at the best orientation of that home for the block. So making sure in most areas in Australia, north facing is the best. So, and that's where all your living zones go. In the south, you can put the services and bedrooms. So that's pretty much Australia wide as a principle. So when you're buying the block in the first place, buying a block that's got a good access living area to the north, if you can, and if not, just working with what you have. But so the orientation is about 90% of it.
So Sophie, you've just completed your energy efficient 9.5 star home. What's been the market reaction?
Well, it's been done as a collaboration of the Tropical Green Building Network. So it's got the support of the council. JCU are doing some testing there. It's had a lot of publicity locally, so everyone's really excited that this kind of home is now available on the market and it's actually affordable. So this is the first time that something like this has actually been available for that kind of price range. So we're really excited, and people have been responding saying we've been waiting for something like this to come out. So it's been really positive.
Fantastic. And do you think there's some education needed in the market for people to really understand the benefits of an energy efficient home?
Definitely, but I think in the mainstream market, most people can see the benefits of having a home that firstly that's comfortable to live in and also that's affordable to run. So those kind of selling points, I think everyone is actually really keen to have those. But the actual features, I think people are learning a lot more about that kind of thing, and there is a lot of information out there. But the home is actually an education tool, so people can go in and actually have a look at those things in practice and see how they can bring them into their own homes.
Benjamin's goal is to achieve a 10-star rating home.
Yes.
Your home you just completed was 9.5 star. Can you tell me the difference between a 9.5 and a 10-star rating home?
Well, every extra star you get costs a bit more. It doesn't cost a lot to go from, say, a 6-star to an 8-star. We did one recently that cost only $1,000 to upgrade from a 6 to 8-star, and that was things like light colours, window tinting, vented roof space, and larger fans. But once you get up to the 9.5 to 10, there is a bit more cost associated there, and a lot of that's about zoning areas. But it can be just getting the right orientation, the right colours, And you have to look at each one individually, but there's definitely ways to achieve that 10-star depending on your location.
And I suppose when you're talking additional costs to increase the energy efficiency of your home, what kind of payback period are people looking at?
Well, at that $250,000 budget, it does pay itself back very quickly. And we're finding that kind of budget, if you actually spend $250,000 on a home and you've got no ongoing running costs, well then you might be paying an extra, say, $30,000 or $40,000 for that home compared to a standard home. But that actually pays itself back probably over 10 years or so.
So tell us, Sophie, how did this project come about?
Well, we have a network called the Tropical Green Building Network in Cairns, and that's a network of builders, designers and product suppliers and community groups. And we all get together and we look at what's missing in the market, and we discovered that there was a need for a sustainable home in the market that was actually affordable. So everyone kind of got together and donated certain parts of the home. So Kennick Constructions built the home and I designed the home, and we had people providing solar panels and so forth. So it was a real collaboration of the community group, and everyone felt real ownership of the project.
Is the skill set different to
an
average builder?
I think they could all do it. Some of them aren't really interested in doing it, but yeah, I mean, I guess it's more that they've seen the benefit of it, and but it's not that it's built any differently to. It's still standard construction. The other thing about this home is that it's actually it's been designed for work health and safety and also access for ageing populations as well.
Oh, okay.
So as well as having all this, it's sustainable not only sort of environmentally, but also as all the lower VOC paints and everything have been selected to make it safe as a workplace for workers building the site. And all the widths of the hallways and the level changes have been designed for future access. So it's sort of a lifestyle. So it's.
And who's this home aimed at? What part of the market?
It's aimed to basically take people through all different stages of the market. That's why it's got these wider hallways. So if you're older and you end up in a wheelchair or something, you can actually adapt the home. So it's a very adaptable home for all stages of your life.
Sophie, what are the core features that make this home so energy efficient?
Well, firstly, you've got the passive design. As I mentioned before, that's the most important thing, getting the right orientation, the cross ventilation, open planning, good overhangs. And then you've got light coloured walls and roof, and then lightweight materials in the walls and well insulated walls and roof. You've got a passive ventilated roof with vented eaves, and it's actually got a solar roof vent. And then there's also solar power, solar water, and then all your water saving features such as rainwater tanks, water saving devices. There's a new product called the collector on the showers that actually keeps the water that you run at the start as the water's heating up, and then returns it to the system, so you're not wasting that water at the start. And there's a special, the Caroma sink, where you wash your hands above the cistern and that water runs into the toilet and use that to flush. So it's lots of water saving features as well. So, and also native gardens and composting and permaculture and so forth.
Very cool. And what about cross ventilation?
Yes, there's louvers throughout the home and triple sliding doors, so everything opens right up, and it's a real indoor-outdoor connection.
Energy efficient lighting?
Yeah, it's LED lighting throughout, so 100% LED lighting, which is really low energy use, and that adds to the benefits in the energy savings I mentioned before.
Sophie Barrett, thank you so much for your time today.
Thanks for having me.
Victoria, I've never heard the term eco beer. Can you tell us what it is?
All right, eco beer. You could start with an eco beer six-pack holder, such as this thing called the six-packer, which is pretty stylish, that I found on the web. You could buy your work colleagues an eco beer hamper from naturallygifted.com.au, a whole bunch of organic beers, organic crisps, etc. Could be a good corporate gift. Even better, you could go for a completely eco beer, Australian-made, Koala Beer Proprietary Limited, produces Burragum Billy Organic Lager. It's Australian certified organic. Or you could drink at an eco bar. There's increasingly loads around, but if you're in Sydney, there's the Hive Bar in Erskineville, which is a sustainable bar. And on tap has Erskineville Pilsner from St Peter's, right in Sydney's inner west. Lots of options with eco beer drinking.
Okay, I'm here today with Tony Lawson. He's a building designer and owner of Lawson Design at a building design firm in Cairns. Thanks for being with us, Tony.
You're welcome.
And we're here today, we're talking about a new home of yours in Redlynch Valley, also in Cairns. And this home is quite unusual from the pictures I'm seeing here, Tony, and it's also won several building association awards, such as Best New Home and Most Sustainable Home. Can you tell us what was the brief from the client, and how did you go about doing that?
Well, I was given a brief from the clients to build a very small home on the edge of a big drop away up in the rainforest in Cairns. We had to design it so that we didn't touch the ground. It was already, we had to work with the ground that was given us. And part of the brief was a collection of really large furniture, doors and windows and artefacts that had been collected over the years, and I had to design the house around these items. There was also, they had a large collection of old telegraph poles, recycled timbers, a lot of old 60-year-old hardwood that was cross arms on telegraph poles, that sort of thing.
Okay, great. And you mentioned, Tony, that it's a lightweight home. What lightweight materials did you use, and why did you decide on a lightweight construction?
Well, in the tropics, lightweight is probably the best way to go. It doesn't hold heat like heavy construction. Because it was hanging over the side of a cliff, lightweight was obviously an easy option, so we basically designed the skeleton of the house out of lightweight steel, and we also then exposed all of that steel so it became quite a focal point of the house, and then this house is also very long and very narrow, so the spans weren't large, so that we could then build lightweight floors and roofs very quickly.
Okay. And what kind of lightweight product did you actually use?
Well, we used timber floors, tongue and groove floor, and we also we had a catwalk on either side of the house, which was in essence an access, a passageway, and some of that decking came into the house to aid with the ventilation, and most other things were corrugated iron roofing and wall cladding, just to eliminate maintenance and ongoing expense and use of materials.
This week's You Asked Us is going to be very short for the simple fact we have no questions. So please, if you have something you'd like us to answer, if you have a query you'd like clarified, then get your questions in, because we'd love to answer it.